everyone. Welcome. This is 60-minute morning hatha. You can do it at any time throughout the day, even though I call it morning hatha. It's just because I first record it in the morning, but any time is okay, just for a nice, gentle, but challenging stretch and practice. So let's actually get started this morning in child's pose. So coming onto your hands and knees, and then opening your knees about as wide as the mat. Big toes to touch. Sink the hips back first, and then gently draw the hands and arms outwards as you rest the forehead on the mat. Now, if this feels a little bit intense for your shoulders, you can bend your elbows a little bit, which takes a little bit of the deeper stretch out of your shoulders. Allowing the hips to sink back. And the breath to be full. Long through the spine. Notice how this posture feels first thing in the practice. Feel the forehead gently weighing down onto the mat, the shin bones, the hands. Feel the support of the mat underneath your body. Feel sensations of the breath, the cool air as it comes in through the nose, the way that the belly draws between the thighs on the inhale, and then the warm air as it draws out of the nose on the exhale. The belly draws in towards the spine. Noticing even the pause at the top of the inhalation and the slight pause at the bottom of the exhalation. When we hold our breath at the top before we exhale, and hold our breath at the bottom before we inhale. So using these sensations of the breath to stay anchored in the present moment within our bodies, in this moment on your yoga mat. And as your mind maybe wanders to thoughts or plans for after the practice, gently and without judgment, turn your awareness back to your breath. The gentle and easy drawing in of the air as the belly drops between the thighs. And the exhalation as the belly draws up towards the spine. Maybe noticing that you can sink the hips back a little bit further towards the heels. Lengthening the spine a little bit more. Having the intention to follow the cues of your own body more than anything else for this practice. So listening to what feels good in your body and what doesn't feel good in your body, and modifying and adjusting so that things do feel good. Letting go of anything that doesn't work in your body. Allowing yourself to come to child's pose for rest if you need to. And honoring any other intentions that you bring to the practice. Gently and slowly begin to draw the weight forward, coming up to all fours. So hands plant under shoulders, knees draw back so that they come under the hips. Shoulders draw away from the ears and slightly engage your low belly. We're going to start with some hip circles. So drawing the hips back like they're going towards child's pose. Draw them over to the right, towards the front, towards the left, and then back towards the heels. Connecting the breath with the movement. Really just as long as you're breathing and it feels good in the body, then there's no way to do this wrong. Just making some nice big circles through the hips, and even a little bit through the low back indirectly. And then we'll gently take it in the opposite direction. Nice big circles in the opposite direction, noticing if this changes anything through the hips by switching directions. And then coming back to a neutral spine, knees under hips, wrists under shoulders. We're gently going to look over the right shoulder towards the right hip, just getting a bit of a stretch through the left side body, really slight, and also through the left side neck. And then gently draw back through center, gaze between the fingertips, and then draw the gaze over the left shoulder towards the left hip. And then gently draw the gaze back to center. We're going to extend the right leg long. Tops of the, or ball of the right foot presses down into the mat. Draw the shoulders away from your ears. So contracting those muscles underneath your armpits just here, as if you could hold an orange between your armpits. So activating through the arms to draw the shoulders down and away from the ears. Keep pressing back through the right heel to stretch the right calf, the right hamstring. Gaze between the fingers so that you stay nice and long through the back of the neck. Gently begin to shift the weight forward, shoulders over wrist. Lift that right heel up, bend the knee, and then we're gonna take some big circles here. So draw the knee in towards the abs, open it out, and then lift it up. So nice big circles, but kind of keeping the right knee bent the whole time. Connecting breath with movement. Kind of a circular motion with the knee. Last one, opening back and in, and then release that right knee down to the mat. We're gonna tuck the toes under, walk the hands back to the knees, up the thighs. Coming into toe stand, opening up the bottoms of the feet, the fascia that is all along the soles of our feet that don't get very much attention, but are connected to so many points within our bodies. And if it's too intense, always an option to take the weight out of your heels by walking a little bit forward, bringing the fingertips to the mat, or standing up on your knees so that the hips aren't weighing down on the heels. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Giving the wrists a little bit of a roll out while we're here. If you have your hands on the mat, you can just do one at a time. Rolling the wrists out. And then gently walking the hands back forward to all fours. Untuck the toes, just stretching in the opposite direction. Bending the toes, rolling out the ankles. And then inhale that right leg again, straight back. Exhale, draw it in and plant the right foot in front so that the knee is over the ankle. Begin to walk that right foot a little bit further if it feels okay, and then shift the hips forward. So the right knee always stays over the right ankle no matter what. So adjust for that alignment to always be the case. But what we're going for is a deep stretch through the left hip flexor. Option to stay here and just work on opening through the chest. So shoulder blades draw together at the back. You draw the crown of the head forward. Slight engagement through the low belly to support the low back. Also an option to root down through the front foot and then begin to draw the shoulders up over the hips and reach the arms high. That will intensify the stretch, and you really want to keep a strong engagement through the low belly to support this in the low back. Notice the breath here and see if it feels okay to sink the hips even a little bit lower. So this action of keeping the hips lifted and not collapsing into it, but actively sinking the hips lower for a deep left hip flexor stretch. Gently open the arms and interlace them behind the back if you did lift your arms up. If you didn't, keep working on opening through the chest. Crown of the head reaches upwards. Interlacing the fingers behind the low back if it feels okay. Couple more breaths here. And then gently release the clasp of your hands. Inhale to reach the arms up. Exhale, hands come to frame the foot. And we gently begin to walk the fingertips back. So left heel comes, or left hip rather, comes back over the left knee. And then we begin to sink even further back. Slight bend in this front knee. And then we lift the right toes off the mat. So sitting back on your left heel, back of the right knee can be soft and you can stay lifted, or for a deeper stretch, You can walk the hands down to frame the right leg and then gently soften the forehead towards the ground. It doesn't matter how deeply you fold. What matters is that you're breathing, that nothing hurts or is pulling strange. So just be mindful of that by tuning into the breath. Noticing sensations through the body. Softening through the muscles of the face and the jaw. Noticing if you can soften through the shoulders any amount. Opening up through the right hamstring, the right calf. If you have folded forward, walk the hands back to bring the shoulders back over the hips. And then gently begin to walk the hands forward and lift the knee back over the hip of the left leg. Coming back to that low lunge. We're going to keep the left hand planted. Inhale to open the right arm high. Keep hugging that right knee in towards the center. And then gently release the right hand down. Step your right hand in on the inside of the right foot. Heel toe it out a little bit. And then using the strength of your low belly, simply step that right knee to join next to the left. Inhale, tilt the pelvis up, open through the chest for cow pose. Exhale, draw the pelvis under as you draw the belly up and in. Head draws down for cat. Inhale, tilt the pelvis up, open up into cow pose. Exhale, draw the pelvis under, scoop the belly out for cat. So moving through a couple of cycles of cat-cow, moving vertebra by vertebra. So really imagining that each and every bone that makes up the spine is moving individually, one at a time, connecting movement with the breath. And then come back to a neutral spine. Wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Begin to extend that left leg long. Left leg goes long. Ball of the foot roots down into the mat. Activating the arms to draw the shoulders away from the ears, and you press back through the heel to lengthen through the back of that left leg. Noticing the breath, and also in these postures where we hold the postures for a few cycles of breath, notice where you hold on to tension. So really common for us to hold on to tension through the jaw, through the shoulders, through the neck, the space between the eyebrows. So really easy to kind of transfer the tension to these areas. So notice where you can soften. Any amount. Pay attention to the breath and then gently release that left knee down to the mat. We're going to take some movements with the hips. So with the left hip. So flex that left foot. Draw it up. Draw it over. Draw it in. And draw it back up. So same as the other side, kind of a circle-like motion with the knee, drawing it up and out, in and back up. Kind of keeping a bend in the knee and a flex in the foot throughout. Long through the back of the neck. And then extend the left leg straight out. Look between the hands, draw the knee in and plant the left foot between the hands. It's okay to take as many steps as you need to get there. And then begin to lean into that left foot, kind of leaning the hips forward, creating more space through this right hip flexor. Most important alignment is the knee over the ankle, so adjusting to allow for that alignment to be possible. An option to stay with your fingertips on the mat, or you have some support to bring the floor a little bit closer to you. Just keep working on drawing the shoulder blades back, opening through the chest, and staying long through the back of the neck as the crown of the head shines forward. From here, we'll stay where you are if that feels good and it feels like it's enough, or begin to work on drawing the arms up. As you draw the shoulders over the hips, nice and tall through the spine, engage the low belly to support the low back here. Gently release the arms so that they interlace behind the back. Kind of opposite pinky on the outside, so probably less natural pinky comes to the outside as you interlace your fingers and open up through the chest. See if you can sink any bit more into this pose, but at the same time, keep the hips from sagging. So kind of actively drawing the right hip flexor more open. Lengthening through the arms, gently begin to release the clasp of the hands. Inhale, lift the arms up and maybe even back a tiny bit. Exhale, hands come to frame the foot. We're going to begin to sink that right hip back towards the right heel as naturally the left leg straightens. And as you sit back, you lift the left foot off of the mat. Left knee can stay nice and soft, so you don't have to lock it out. Flexing the toes towards the face. Option to stay lifted here. So with the shoulders over the hips, long through the spine, focusing on the breath. Option to take it a step further by walking the hands in front, around the foot, and gently folding forward. So wherever you land, paying attention to the breath, noticing areas that you can soften. Gently and slowly begin to walk the hands back up towards the center, and then gently walking them forward to bring the sole of the left foot to the mat. Left knee over left ankle. And then inhale, begin to lift the arms up to come over the shoulders, and then gently release the right hand next to the left foot. Inhale, draw the left arm up, gentle twist. Opening up to the left as you draw the left knee in towards the center. And then release that left hand down on the inside of the left foot, walking the left foot out. Use the strength of the belly to step the left foot right around, coming back to all fours. Inhale, tilt the pelvis up, open through the chest for cow pose. Exhale as you draw the belly up and in, drawing the chin towards the chest for cat. Inhale to lift and open. Exhale to draw the belly up and in, releasing the head between the square of the arms. Inhale to open. Exhale to draw the belly in. Couple more like that. Inhaling to open. Exhale to draw the belly up and in. Last one. Inhaling to open. Exhale. Draw the belly up and in, and then come back to a neutral spine. Knees walk out nice and wide, big toes to touch. Sink the hips back. In this child's pose, walk the hands over to the right. Left hand comes on top of the right. And then gently allow for the forehead to sink between the arms. Resting on the mat. Left hip draws back. Gently look towards the hands and slowly walk them through center, over to the left. Right hand on top of the left as you gently draw the forehead between the arms, resting. The right hip keeps drawing back towards the right heel, opening up through the right side body. Gently draw the gaze up towards the hands as you walk back to center. Sink the hips back in center for just a moment as you allow the forehead to press down into the mat. Noticing sensations through this specific child's pose. Gently draw the weight forward. Wrists under shoulders, knees walk back under hips. And then begin to tuck the toes under to lift the knees, lift the hips, arriving in downward facing dog. Begin to bend into one knee and into the other, opening up through the backs of the legs. A little bit of movement here. Maybe even as you draw one heel back, lift the toes up, and then bending into the other knee, drawing the opposite heel back, lift the toes up. So whichever leg is straight and extended, work on just lifting the toes up slightly towards the face. And then come to stillness. Inhale, look towards the hands and baby steps all the way to the top of the mat. So taking baby steps all the way to the top, and then bringing the feet about hips width distance. Gently release the head and the neck into a forward fold. Ragdoll pose. We're going to draw the hands to the elbows, releasing the head into the square of the arms, and just gently allow for the weight of your upper body to draw down towards the earth as you lift the hips up towards the sky. There can be as much of a bend in the knees as needed. We're just opening up through the whole back side of the body. Lifting the hips up towards the sky. We root down into the feet. Gently release the hands towards the earth. Turn the toes outwards and open up your feet maybe just a little bit more so that it's just a tiny bit wider than hips width distance. And then begin to bend into the knees. Sink the hips between the heels, coming into Malasana or Yogi squat. We're going to root the elbows in towards the knees, and the knees draw outwards. Hands come to heart center. Opening up through the collarbones, the chest, the heart, the hips. Lifting up with the crown of the head. Noticing the breath. Release the left hand into the center of the legs, really rooting that left elbow into the left knee. And then inhale to reach the right arm up, finding a bit of a twist. And then option here to wrap the right arm behind the back so that the right hand finds the left hip crease, if that feels okay. Option to stay here or wrap the left elbow around the left leg, so kind of wrapping it around and twisting, and it might even find that right hand. So opening up through the chest, and again, take what feels okay in your body and let go of what doesn't. None of my cues are a requirement. And then gently release the kind of bind that we had. Inhale the right arm up. Exhale, right hand comes down to join the left. Weight goes into the hands to lift the hips up towards the sky. Gentle sway. The hips draw to the right and draw to the left, opening up through the backs of the legs and the hips. Heavy through the head and the neck. Keeping the left foot where it is. Weight goes into the hands. You can bend your knees as much as needed to step the right foot back. Coming into a lunge, we're going to release that right knee down to the mat and untuck the toes. If this is sore on your knee, you can always fold over your mat or bring in a little cushion for the knee on the mat. And then walking the wrists so that they're back under the shoulders, opening up through that left hip. Option to stay here, or keep planting through that right hand as you draw the left hand to the left knee, flex into the left foot, and open onto the left razor edge of the foot. So the left outer edge of the foot. Soften through the shoulders and soften through the jaw. Long through the spine, and crown of the head keeps reaching upwards. Gently begin to release that left foot back down to the mat. Left hand comes down onto the mat. And we're gonna gently shift the hips back in space and then step the left foot back so that the left knee joins the right. We're back in tabletop. Inhale, tilt the pelvis up, open through the chest for cow. Exhale, draw the pelvis under, round through the spine as the chin comes towards the chest. Inhale, pelvis lifts, opening through the chest. Exhale, draw the belly in and up, chin tucks. Inhaling to open. Exhale, draw the belly in. Last cycle, inhale to open. Exhale, draw the belly in. Coming back through a neutral spine spread wide through the fingers, tuck the toes under, lift the knees, lift the hips, finding downward facing dog. Little bit of movement first, so bending into one knee, bending into the other. Maybe the hips sway side to side, so listen to the cues of your own body here and what feels good. And then coming to stillness, lifting the hips up and back, look towards the hands, and then baby steps again as we walk the feet up to the front of the mat. About it, hips width distance, feet parallel to start. Gently release the head and neck downward so that the crown of the head draws towards the floor. Option for ragdoll, hands to elbows, releasing the head into the square of the arms. Allow the weight of the torso to draw down towards the earth. Hips keep drawing up, and there can be as big of a bend in the knees as what feels good. But keep drawing the hips up towards the sky, lengthening through the whole back body. Gently begin to release the hands towards the earth, and we're going to heel toe the feet out a little bit wider, almost as wide as the mat, but heels come in, toes point out. Setting up for yogi squat or malasana again, we can use the hands for support as we bend into the knees and lower the hips downwards. Open up through the knees as well as the chest. Hands come together for malasana yogi squat. Lifting up through the crown of the head, rooting down through the tail. Knees open. Then begin to root the right hand into the ground. Option to lift the left arm up, finding a gentle and slight twist here. Option to stay here or wrap the left arm behind the back, opening up through the chest. And again, option to stay here or to wrap the right arm around the leg. Maybe you'll find the left hand in the right hip crease with the right hand wrapping around the legs, maybe not. Opening up through the collarbones, keep drawing the knees away from each other, opening up through the groin. Notice the breath and notice where you're holding on to tension. Softening through the jaw, the muscles of the face, the space between the eyebrows. Gently begin to release that left arm up towards the sky if it was bound. And then bring the left hand back to center, the right hand back to center. Rooting down into the hands. We're going to shift the weight into the hands and lift the hips up towards the sky. Bend into one knee, bend into the other. So moving through the hips, swaying side to side, opening up through the hamstrings. And then keeping the right foot where it is, we're going to bend the knees as much as we need to find a foundation through the hands. And then step the left foot back, ball of the foot comes to the mat. Walk the hands back so that the wrists come back under the shoulders, and then gently release that back knee down, untuck the toes. So make sure that your wrists, elbows, and shoulders are all in one line. So if your hands are a bit further out, it's gonna not be a great foundation for your shoulders. So just be mindful of that before we take it any further. Option to stay here, or option to keep the left hand on the ground. Flex into the right foot, bring the right hand to the top of the right knee, and even maybe open up through the razor edge onto the razor edge or outer edge of that right foot, opening up, sinking the hips any amount lower, and at the same time, kind of this feeling of sinking them lower but keeping them lifted. So sinking them lower with control and with strength, not just allowing for the hips to kind of fall, but actively sinking them lower to keep a stretch through the left hip flexor. Long through the back of the neck. Notice the breath. And then gently release that right foot back to the earth, right hand back to the earth. Draw the hips back in space, walk the hands back in space, and then step that right foot back to join the left. Inhale, tilt the pelvis up, open through the chest. Exhale, draw the belly in as you release the head between the square of the arms. Inhaling to open. Exhaling, drawing it up and in. Last one, inhaling to open. Exhale to draw it up and in. And then from a neutral spine, walk the hands back to come to stand on your knees. Coming into camel pose, we're gonna contract the belly. So really strong through the low belly. Drawing the belly in towards the spine. And then bringing the hands to the lower back. Draw the elbows towards one another as you lift and open the heart up towards the sky. opening through the chest and the heart. Keep drawing the elbows towards one another. And then gently draw the shoulders back over the hips, sinking the hips down, or sorry, the hips down to the heels. So sitting on the heels, bring the hands so that they almost touch your feet, or maybe they totally touch your feet. And then hinge from the hips, to lower the forehead down to the mat. Coming into a variation of child's pose with the knees together. Rest the forehead down onto the mat. Notice the breath here. Maybe massaging out the forehead by drawing the head to the right and to the left. Just massaging out the forehead on the ground if that feels okay. Gently draw the hands back beside the face and lift the torso up. And then simply swing the legs out to the front space. Coming to a seated forward fold, we're going to inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, hinge from the hips and then gently fold all the way forward. Making it a passive fold, release the head towards the knees. Long through the backs of the legs, through the lower back, the middle back, and the upper back. Release the chin towards the chest. The arms rest by the side. Soften through the muscles of the face. The space between the eyebrows. Soften through the shoulders. Through the jaw. And then slowly and gently begin to roll up vertebra by vertebra. One at a time. Drawing the shoulders back over the hips. Draw the shoulders up, down, and away from the ears. Place the hands just beside the hips, kind of slightly behind them. Fingertips can face forward if that feels okay. Root down through the hands, lift up through the crown of the head, nice tall spine. Chin draws back in space to lengthen through the back of the neck. Strong through the legs. And then gently begin to plant the feet on the mat. Open the arms to the front as you gently roll back, vertebra by vertebra. Slowly and gently drawing it back, pelvis lower back, middle back, and upper back. And then tuck the shoulders down and away from the ears to open through the chest. Right foot stays planted, left ankle comes to the top of the right knee, finding figure 4. Option to stay here or keeping the legs as they are. Begin to draw the legs and the lower body over towards the right. The right foot will probably come all the way to the floor. And then option to make it any more intense by bringing the right hand to the left ankle and drawing it in any amount. You can open the left arm like a T. Soften through the space between the eyebrows, the jaw, and the shoulders. Allowing the breath to flow easily in and out. Breathing fully into the belly. Gently begin to draw the legs back through center. So hips come back to center. And then option here to stay here, drawing the left knee towards the front space, flexing through that left foot. Or option to draw the legs in. Left hand can come between the legs, right hand on the outside, and they interlace behind the right hamstring. Opening up through the left hip. Engaging the intensity of the stretch for your body, drawing the legs closer to the chest for a more intense stretch and drawing them away from the chest for a less intense stretch. And then gently release that right foot down to the mat, lift the left leg up, rolling out the ankle, and then release the left foot to the mat to bring the right ankle to the top of the left knee. And then releasing the legs as they are over to the left. Right foot will likely come onto the ground. And then option 2, stay as you are or bring the left hand to the right ankle for support, allowing the right arm to open. Gently begin to draw the legs back through center, and then option to stay here, drawing the right knee forward, flexing the right foot, or option to draw the legs in any amount, grabbing a hold of your left hamstring with your hands interlaced behind, and then gauging the intensity of the stretch that works in your own body. Paying attention to the breath. And then as you feel ready, gently release the left foot down, lift the right leg up, rolling out the ankle. Releasing the right foot down to the mat, and then opening the legs long and wide, right out in front for Shavasana. Opening the hands and the arms up towards the sky, walking the shoulder blades together to lift the heart up towards the sky any amount. Feel the back side of the body and where it comes into contact with the mat. Feel the front side of the body as your heart lifts up towards the sky. Feel the bottom half of the body from heels to hips. The top half of the body from hips to crown of head. Feel and notice the right half of the body. Feel and notice the left half of the body. Feel and notice where the two halves of the body meet in the middle. And rest fully, breathing easily for Shavasana. I invite you to stay any amount longer in Shavasana, resting in stillness. You can rest in stillness, or if you're ready to close the practice, move your fingers and your toes slightly as you deepen the breath. Gently plant one foot and plant the other, drawing the hips over to the left to roll over onto the right side using the right arm as a pillow. Left hand plants and roots down in front. Gently draw the body up towards a seat, coming to sit cross-legged, opening up through the chest, drawing the shoulder blades together. Chin draws back in space, lengthening the back of the neck. Resting the hands on the knees. Deep breath in through the nose, drawing it in. Exhale fully out through the mouth. Gathering the hands to heart center. May any goodness from this practice resonate out to all beings everywhere. Namaste.